Well, hello again. Despite the fact that I make videos about anime that a lot of people just really don't like, I also make videos about games that probably a lot of people don't like. I don't advertise it much here, but I do have a Twitch account, obviously, and sometimes you can find me on different channels like Obi-Wan Stream or even on Hey Jessica, and they usually stream a lot of different things, mostly The Witcher and Fallout series games, but they're actually a lot of fun to hang around. I'll provide a link in the description below for both of their channels, and you can check them out and give them a follow, or if you're just generous enough, you can go ahead and subscribe to their channels, and they do have emotes available for you. And when I'm not there on Twitch or anywhere close to work, I am on Twitter, which you can follow me on, and I just recently updated my Patreon, so that way the rewards are a little bit more fair because there are no rewards. Lastly, the artist that's responsible for this pixel art is Kat, or at Cytheria on Twitter, and you can give her a follow and show some support because she actually does really good work. I am a big fan, and obviously I really like the pixel art. But now it's time to get into the real meat and potatoes of what today's video is really about Star Fox 2. You see, Star Fox 2 was a game that was going to be released in 1995, and it was unfortunately cancelled in the middle of the year by Shigeru Miyamoto because of the release of the Nintendo 64 that was going to happen. 22 years later, the game remained unreleased. Even the ROMs that appeared online for you to download for emulators were still the incomplete version of the game, until the release of the Super Nintendo Classic Edition, which I was able to get my hands on because my nostalgia. The game, by 1995 standards, was really well made. Even the polygons that they used in the game for the 3D effects were still really superb, especially for the Super FX chip that was integrated into most of those games. The reason I bring this up is because in 1995, video games had just started to take off in a very particular way, especially with my generation and what we grew up with. And I'm no fan of trying to rehash everything, but if they're gonna make Sonic Mania look like it did, they're doing something right. Give me all that nostalgia, damn it. But the reason I bring this up is because not everybody is into nostalgia, and that's fine. But to base a game that is almost 22 years old off of something today, that's a little ludicrous. Like, not the rapper, but yeah, sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and just cut to the video because that was set up awful.
I was mesmerized by the pastel polygons of Star Fox 2. While abstract ships swirled in a stop-motion dance in front of me, I kept thinking this is one of the most beautiful games I've played all year. But where I saw art, others who stopped by to check out Star Fox 2 just saw a blur of awkwardly rotating triangles at about 10 frames a second.
Now, hold on there, Chief. Did you just say that Star Fox 2 polygons run at 10 frames per second? And this is a bad thing because of how limited technology was in 1995? Sure, by 1993 we had Bomberman running at 1080p, and that was 1993. I'm impressed that they even got polygons to look this good. And I'm not even a fan of like anything Nintendo for the most part. Like, I think they're an okay company. Sometimes they make boneheaded decisions, but if that's one of your main complaints, I don't think it's a very strong one. 10 frames per second for a home console back in 1995 was probably going to be the greatest thing ever. It was one of the greatest things ever.
Setting aside my appreciation for game history and nostalgia, Star Fox 2 is kind of a hot mess.
I'm sure you're probably going to explain to me why you think it is a hot mess, because, you know, games in 1995 can definitely stack up to games in 2017. Yeah, because that makes all of the sense, Sam. That makes all of the sense. Now, I know I am no expert at making titles or making things look good, but did it take you all day to write that title? Did it take you all day to put a fantastic miss for Fox? Like, was that like the best thing you could come up with? Like, I'm an amateur compared to that. Like, that's retarded. But now I'm just being nitpicky, so let's go ahead and just keep on going.
Star Fox 2's primitive 3D is so jarringly bad that Nintendo actually canceled it in 1995 because it didn't look good alongside the groundbreaking 3D of the Nintendo 64.
To say that it would look bad next to a obviously superior console is completely retarded. Everyone knows that, sure, the Nintendo 64 was going to deliver a better experience for 3D, but that wouldn't have stopped them from releasing the game. In fact, Nintendo never disclosed the official reason for its cancellation. But, see, I did something for you. See, I went to the Star Fox Wikipedia page, which there's a link in the description below, and this is a part of the article that was talking about how Star Fox 2 was. Even they said that Star Fox 2 was fully completed and he was the lead programmer. This is by Dylan Cuthbert, if you didn't know, and he works for Q Games. But he nonetheless said that he was the lead programmer, and whilst Giles made Stunt Race FX, myself and the rest of the original Star Fox team, i.e. Nintendo's artists and designers, expanded Star Fox into a full 3D shooting game. We used state-of-the-art technology such as arbitrary plane clipping, which has only been seen recently in such games as Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3, to create some rather spectacular effects for the time. The reason for non-release was the then impending Nintendo 64, which of course was intended to be released a lot sooner than it actually was. Miyamoto-san decided he wanted to have a clean break between 3D games on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System and 3D games on the new, superior 64-bit system. In retrospect, he could have released Star Fox 2, and there would have been over a year and a half before the N64 came out, but hindsight is always 20/20. Even your fellow colleagues at IGN even suggested that it was because of the high production costs and internal development problems that it was delayed and eventually canceled.
It barely runs on the SNES hardware, or even on its new home in the SNES Classic Edition.
Maybe because of technical limitations, and because it's an emulator, it's not going to run at 60 frames per second. In fact, I don't even expect it to run at 30 frames per second. This is primitive technology by today's standards. By then, it was state-of-the-art. 1995 was a great year, even for 1996, especially with the Nintendo 64 coming out. Come on, Sam. Look at what you're judging this on. A 3D platformer from 1995.
But if you can stomach the terrible frame rate, it is playable, enough that I could beat it on hard. Sometimes, it's even enjoyable. The best thing about Star Fox 2 is its insane polygonal ships, creatures, and cutscenes. I'm drawn to its janky yet plucky aesthetic, including a cast of puppet-like animals that bark, ribbit, and squeak over the radio.
I personally would have shit bricks in 1995 if I could have played this game. I never owned a Super Nintendo. I always had to go to my Aunt Laura's house, and she had one. And then, of course, some of my cousins in Mississippi did. But I'm glad that you were able to at least enjoy the aesthetic of the game, because it looks like a really awesome game with bright colors, because I have a very limited mind. I just need the bright colors. I need them in my life. But even then, you shouldn't even be upset at the polygons and how they look, especially since you like them in the cutscenes. Next, you're going to tell me that the polygons in Revolution 60 actually make sense and look good.
The second best thing is its real-time strategy-like frame that puts pressure on you at every moment. Even as you're dogfighting above planets, cruising through dreadnoughts and Death Star-like runs, and strafing past bosses, enemy forces spawn on the map and creep closer to your home planet. Juggling defensive attacks on smaller enemies, with strikes that take out the sources of the enemies on planets and ships, makes for enjoyably frantic multitasking.
So the gameplay itself is good, the mechanics are there, and it helps you feel like you're actually in a battle in space. What could possibly go wrong?
Occasionally, special events like a big dragon boss or invading spiders on a friendly space station pop up to make things chaotic and different each time you play. Hard mode especially shakes things up with additional levels and bosses. A good strategy will only take you so far. To win, you'll need to defeat your enemies in space combat, and that's when things fall apart.
Excuse me?
It's incredibly difficult to control your ship and aim at the same time with the SNES D-pad, especially with the graphical slowdown. It's even harder to dodge incoming fire. I found myself barrel rolling wildly in space and strafing non-stop on the ground, just mashing the laser button and hoping for the best.
In the first-person shooter world, we call that pray and spray.
But failing in Star Fox 2 isn't so bad. Games are short. I beat normal mode in 45 minutes and hard mode in an hour. These control problems make Star Fox 2 the worst game in the SNES Classic Edition. It probably deserved to get cancelled.
Wait a second. Did you just say it probably deserved to be canceled? Why does any game deserve to be canceled, Sam? It's almost like people put all of their time and effort into making a game for the masses, just so that way people like you would be able to enjoy them. But instead, you just say, well, it probably deserved to be canceled because the controls are bad. If I've played a game where the controls are bad and I said it deserved to be canceled, then, I mean, my games list would be very short because I get angry. But just because you're angry at a game that you just don't probably enjoy doesn't mean you should give it a low review score. That's retarded. I mean, this game is by no means a Sonic Mania where they just happen to remake it and use the same kind of sprites and the levels and things like that to pull inspiration from. But this still is a pretty decent game. I was able to play a little bit of it, and I just don't care for Star Fox that much, but it was really fun, especially if you put it on with a 5-year-old mindset like mine.
But it also deserved to see the light of day.
Oh boy, I'm so glad he pointed that out to me right before the video ended.
And I'm glad I got to play this piece of gaming history. For more, check out our full review of the SNES Classic Edition.
A 5.0 as mediocre? I'm sorry, did it not have enough season passes for you in there? Was there just no online capabilities that caught your interest? Oh wait, that's right. This game was made 22 years ago, Sam! In fact, I'm glad I got to witness a piece of video history by seeing this review be one of the worst ones you've ever put out. Sam Claiborne, let me go ahead and tell you why people didn't like your review. It's not even for the fact that you gave it a low score. It's the fact that you gave it a low score based on current technology today. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to scroll through a couple of these. No online multiplayer, no VR support, no 4K HDR at 120 frames per second, no season pass, no pre-order bonus / limited edition skin, emote, not Call of Duty, 5 out of 10, GG. The 2008 version of Metropolis wasn't in color, 1 out of 4 stars. Are you guys idiots? This is a Super Nintendo game. Dear Lord. This guy should be fired for reviewing this game as if it just came out. I agree with you about the reviewing of the game, but I don't think anyone deserves to lose their job. It's fine. LOL, what a great comedy piece. This is not the first time you do this crap, IGN. I still remember that you treat Mother 1 like garbage and judge it like a 2015 game. Now this. It got a 5 out of 10. Too much stars, not enough Fox. How are you going to review it at 2017 standards? WTF? What a games journalist doesn't know how to review a game. Oh, I messed that up. Sorry. It's literally like 3 hours of sleep. Best graphics I've ever seen. Wow, this review is clearly unfair. So, you judge a 1990s game by 2017 standards. What? IGN, please fire this guy. Like I said, don't need to lose your job. It's just kind of weird. This is the worst review that I've ever seen. Like, look at these go on. These go on forever. Like look at this. Never allow people like this to, like this guy to review games again. Stop judging old games by modern standards. Now, I know YouTube comments aren't the best way to gauge how an audience reacts, but if I can go for days looking through those comments and they say almost the exact same thing, that's letting you know something. You should go ahead and take the hint. It's right there for you. Now, to be fair, it is his opinion, and it doesn't really hold much weight, just like my opinions don't hold much weight. Trust me, I read the comments. It's, some people just really fucking hate me. But I guess that's just life. But I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of short video. It's about 14 minutes, but I tried to make it in a little bit of time that I do have available. But I will have some videos coming out regularly. I just have to find some time to be able to sit down and actually go over some of the research that I have to do. But before I end this video, I want to give a special shout out to Arisu Baka, who is one of my patrons. He's the only patron that I have right now, but he's been pledged to me for 2 months, and I can't thank him enough for all of his support. And you can of course head over there yourself and drop $1 or $2. Any little bit helps, especially since none of these videos are monetized to begin with. And also a big shout out to the 240 subscribers on this channel. I really didn't think I would make it this far, and every time I get some bad comments, I just react to them and then I look at what you guys send me, and it's really great. It really warms my heart, and I appreciate it because you all are great people. Thank you so much for your support. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I hope you have a great fall, especially since we're in Season 3. I got a lot of videos to get to, but I'm gonna go ahead and catch some sleep because I'm only running on 3 hours, and I will catch you guys in the next video.